By First NorCal Credit Union, the smart choice for low auto loan rates and super simple online application process.
Steiny, you are one pathetic loser.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All righty, on the line is Audacy NFL insider Ross Tucker. Insider calls are presented by BetQL. Download the free BetQL app right now and get instant access to the industry's most advanced suite of sports betting tools right at your fingertips. What's going on, Ross? How you doing, man?
I am doing awesome. Maybe not as good as you guys now that I have the Niners ranked number 1 in the official Ross Tucker Football Podcast
there you go.
Power rankings. So probably not doing quite as well as you guys, but I will be Saturday, Steiny, after my high school beats your high school in football. I'll be feeling great.
All right. We'll set that aside. It's so funny you brought up power rankings.
Wow, Ross.
Let me ask you one question. How many 0-1 teams are in your top 10?
Well, I don't have it off the top of my head, but the Bengals for sure.
Right.
The Bills are still in. The Bills are still in my top 10.
Chiefs?
Trying to think. That might be. Oh yeah, Chiefs for sure.
Okay.
Chiefs and Bengals are still in my top 5, and Bills still in my top 10. So at least 3.
I got you. Guru's got his own power rankings.
Ross,
They're called the power standings.
I'm catching hell here. We had the same number 1 team. I miss you, buddy, the Niners. But I went strictly with teams that won in week 1, and your boy's having a problem with it. But I'm only 3 off if you only got 3 that lost in it.
Well, listen, this isn't college football, Guru. Like, you don't just move them up or down based on who wins or loses. It is, in week 1, it's a real balance between what you thought coming into the year and then what we saw. And then after this upcoming week, I feel like it's like 75% based on this year. Like right now, it's still like 50-50.
Right.
Next week, it'll be 75 this year, 25 coming into the year. And then after the third game, man, it's like 95% what they've done this year and very little on the preconceived notion.
Good call.
Yeah. Ross Tucker joining us on 95.7 The Game, Audacy NFL Insider, host of the Ross Tucker podcast. All that said, you know what? Let's start with the Niners. We'll get to Aaron Rodgers probably a little bit more at the end. But, I mean, in terms of comprehensiveness, was there a better team on Sunday, or who along with the Niners played to your way of thinking the most impressive games in week 1?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was the Niners. I have the Cowboys second because they were awesome as well. But, you know, the Cowboys, like, a lot of things that happened in that game, a blocked field goal for a touchdown, you know, the pick six that tipped off Barkley's, like, that's stuff that's not going to happen that often. Whereas, you know, the Niners, they just feel like they just dominated both sides of the ball. You know, like there was nothing. And Cowboys fans get mad when I say this, but there was nothing fluky at all. No one-off plays in my mind for what the Niners did. Yep. And also, you know, for the national folks like me, there's still a little bit of question about Brock Purdy. For him to come out and play that well, and for like the leading skill guy to be Ayuk, not Debo, not Christian McCaffrey, although he had a great game, not Kittle, it just bodes really, really well for the Niners, right? To go on the road. I have Pittsburgh winning double-digit games this year, at least I had, and to just beat them up, both sides of the ball, up front, and anybody that might still be a little bit of a question mark, Purdy, Ayuk, answer that in the affirmative. It's just crazy impressive. It is.
Yeah, when I found out we were having you, Ross, I got excited because last year a lot of what we talked about in regard to the Niners' O-line was about McGlinchey. He was the poster child for if anything went wrong, he got blamed. He's out. He's in Denver. McKivitz takes over. T.J. Watt. I mean, what more can I say? The dude's a stud. He had 3 sacks it's 30-7. But when people out here talk about what did you see from McKivitz, we're deemed haters. Can you talk to us about what you saw from him and the Niners O-line? Because Brock got hit a couple times, Ross.
No, he did. And I think the thing that's the most surprising to me about Watt is I guess I would have thought that Kyle and the Niners would have had a better plan for him to not let him impact the game as much as he did. I was expecting Guru to come on and for you to be calling for the firing of
Look at my God.
I thought you'd be ready to say, listen, I know they won by 20-some points on the road, but TJ Watt had a big day. I'm ready to say Kyle Shanahan needs to resign as head coach of the San Francisco. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. It's a Pennsylvania thing with you and my boy. Go ahead, Ross.
No, you know what? I think that's a situation to monitor, right? Because, he's getting some experience. Obviously, he's a concern. And to get where you guys want to go, right, there's a lot of T.J. Watt types, actually. How many T.J. Watts are there? Well, in the playoffs, there's Micah Parsons and there's Hassan Reddick. So, and you guys know what Hassan Reddick did to your team last year. So one way or the other, they got to figure out what to do with McKivitz and how to help him and make it so that that's not an issue.
Ross, you played on the offensive line. And I'm not exactly sure, but can you take me through the process? So in week 1, Drake Jackson, Bosa comes back. Bosa has no sacks, but Drake Jackson has 3 on the other side. Clearly, that has something to do with Bosa. Can you kind of explain to me what happens over the course of a season? Because clearly it's gonna go the other way. But can you take a guy out of the game, even if it's almost to the detriment, not just of one guy but of the team? If you know what I mean.
Totally know what you mean, but first of all, aren't you the guy that said all linemen are the same?
Pretty much. Centers.
Okay.
Yeah, just centers.
At any rate, so there's no question, right? You're playing against the Niners. You're talking all week about Nick Bosa and trying to find ways to not let him wreck the game, right? He's a game wrecker, which, by the way, just as an aside, it makes what guys like that are able to do that produce year in and year out even more impressive, because teams really work hard to not give them that many one-on-ones, not give them that many situations where they're isolated against an offensive tackle. So it makes when they're super productive all the more impressive. It really does. But sometimes maybe there's an over allocation, if you will, right? Like we're going to slide that way every time, automatic slide to Nick Bosa. Well, then you're getting the other guy one-on-one a lot. And that's why, by the way, it's so important that you have somebody on the other side that can get home, that can play. Because if they can just keep sliding or having the attention on Bosa and leaving the other guy one-on-one and he can't do anything about it, that's problematic.
Ross, I don't know if you heard the comments. You mentioned Micah Parsons, but we know he likes to get down in the media, but he says some glowing things about Brock Purdy and that he might be a top 15 player, a quarterback right now. And I was late to the party. I wanted Trey Lance. Let's see what he can do. And now I know they made the right choice. But were you able to get wind of Micah's comments about Brock Purdy?
No.
All right, you know what?
We're going to play it for you if you don't mind. Steiny's going to play it for you.
Go for it.
Take a listen.
And I just don't think that we should sleep on Brock Purdy no more. Yes, he was a 7th-round pick. Yes, he came in late in the season and won 6 straight games, took him to the NFC Championship before his injury. But Purdy, you will not be slept on no more, brother. I think people are coming for you the same way they come for Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, you were surrounded by a great team, but you were playing your butt off. You got one hell of a story, brother. If we were to rank Purdy right now, I would put Purdy around. I think Purdy's a top 15 quarterback. There's things that we still want to see from Purdy, not when Purdy's winning, but when Purdy's down. I think the adversity aspect of the football game is huge. Learning how to play from behind, learning situational football. It's not something I'm saying he can't do. It's just something that we just haven't seen yet.
Ross, I thought that was phenomenal. Your thoughts on after hearing Micah's comments?
I totally agree with him. Totally agree with him. And I think I probably told you guys this before, but I live in Harrisburg now. Like, I can ride my bike probably to where Micah grew up. And I've known him since he was in 9th grade. I mean, I helped him get his first scholarship offer after his 3rd game of high school. And before his junior year of high school, I talked to him. I said, listen, man, you got 5 years to change your whole life. Like, 2 years of high school, 3 years of college. And, it worked. I knew he'd be good. I didn't know he'd be this good. But I agree with what he's saying about Purdy. I am totally over, Purdy's got enough of a sample size now that I think, this will sound like whatever, but you remember the year that Brady first took over for Bledsoe, and it was like, the first 5, 6, 7 games, it's like, yeah, you know what, he's doing okay. Yeah, for a 6th-round pick, he's doing okay. Hey, this Tom Brady kid's not bad. And then
right.
A couple years later, it's like, okay, yeah, he's the best player in the NFL, And I'm not saying that's going to happen with Purdy at all. I'm just saying I'm like Parsons. I'm over the draft status for Purdy. I'm over it.
Yeah, I am too, Ross. I think
we all are.
Yeah, I think we are. Because if you keep that label on him as a 7th-round pick, it kind of lowers the expectations for the team. If you know what I mean. If you're kind of given an out that way, it might not be fair to Purdy, but it's kind of what it is because they have such a good team.
Totally agree. And look, you know what I thought watching that game? Purdy played like Kyle talks about him. Like
Right.
Purdy played like Kyle and Lynch talk about him. Because sometimes the way they talk about him, I'm like, geez, relax a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but he played to that. He really did.
Yeah. Hey, Ross, thanks as always, man. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to having you on here and there in the future.
Yeah, you probably won't have me on next week after you guys get smoked, but I understand.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not talking Niners. I'm talking Berks Catholic.
Oh, I got you. I got you, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
See you guys.
That was Audacy NFL insider Ross Tucker.